Hi, I want to welcome everyone back. Thank you for sharing your introductions last week. It was really great to get to know more about each and every one of you, and also to see many of you take interest in your fellow classmates. So once again, thank you. I did take the time this week to post a bio about myself. It's a little bit longer than most of you, showing that I guess I do like talking a little bit about myself, but talks a little bit about my educational, my career experiences, just some interesting facts about myself and in my time in the hospitality industry and also in the classroom. This week, please start off by looking at the agenda that I've posted. You will have your first discussion questions that will be due Thursday at 11:59. And then remember, you need to respond to 2 of your fellow classmates by Sunday at 11:59. Those responses should be quality responses. Maybe you're posing a question to them about something that they posted about their company that they are talking about in their discussion question. It could be something that's unclear to you that you would like them to explain in their answer. I will leave that up to you, but it should be 2 quality responses. You will also have your first quiz, which will be on chapter 1 and 2. So it's a little bit of a switch from what the course contract said, and that will also be indicative of the discussion questions as well. They'll also be on just chapter 1 and 2 of this week. I changed that up a little bit. So please mark your course contracts, your schedule accordingly. We're going to hop right into the next few moments just talking about the learning objectives of both Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. So each week, before you read each chapter, make sure you look at those learning objectives. I have posted for you the PowerPoint notes from the publisher to assist you with your reading. So I like to think these should complement and supplement your reading. They should not replace the reading. It's important that you are doing the reading. There are some details in there that you're going to have to be held accountable for. So please utilize these PowerPoints just to assist with taking notes. Do feel free to, for your quiz, which you will notice is posted already. It will be 12 questions, multiple choice, true or false, 12 total questions. You'll have 12 minutes to answer those. Have those PowerPoint notes ready. Any notes that you've taken, your textbook, you can utilize those materials. But remember, you shouldn't just be using those. The textbook is something that you're going to need to use in the course. So as I said, next few minutes we're going to run through the learning objectives, just things I want you to make sure that you know for both the discussion questions this week and the quiz, and ultimately moving forward towards the rest of the chapters. So learning objective 1 says, understand the relationship between the world's hospitality and travel tourism industry. In our industries, we have something called interrelationships. Anyone that's taking or has taken Intro to Hospitality, we talk about the importance of any travel or tourism vacation. You don't just judge generally the one experience you have at the hotel or the one experience you have at the airline or restaurant or amusement park. You kind of bundle that all together. Therefore, it's really important that hospitality and travel and tourism businesses work together to create an overall valuable experience. Because a lot of times, if you have a negative experience during one of those businesses during your travels, it might kind of give a negative experience for that whole stay. So that's learning objective 1. 2 talks about defining marketing and outline the steps in the marketing process. So our authors tell us that marketing is the process by which companies create value for customers in society, resulting in strong relationships between the 2 parties, the customer and the company, which capture value from the customer in return. So understanding that. And then we have a 5-step process. I'm not going to go through each one of those 5 steps, but I am going to ask you both on your quiz and some discussion questions about those 5 steps. The first is understanding the demands, the wants and needs of your customers. And then it kind of goes through 4 more, ultimately creating, hopefully, brand loyalty in your guests. So I want you to take a look at those. Any questions, any misunderstandings of any of those steps, please send me an email. I can further discussion. I will also put underneath the discussion question something called the muddiest points. And I'll try to check that every few days. And what that will be is an opportunity for anything that might be unclear to you, to post there. Yes, you can send it to me via email, but it's also another opportunity for your fellow students to help you out as well. So that'll be called Muddiest Points, and I will put that on actually as soon as I'm done this video. Explain the relationships between customer value and satisfaction. So that's learning objective 3. I would like you to make sure you understand after this week. Understand why the marketing concept calls for a customer orientation. That's learning objective 4. And then 5, finally, is understand the concept of lifetime value of a customer and be able to relate it to customer loyalty and retention. So what I really want you to understand is that a lot of times when people market a product, they tend to always be trying to attract new customers to their establishment. Understand the importance of loyalty, customer loyalty, being able to retain your current employees. The text does a good job of talking, I believe, about Domino's and other companies and how much they understand that over a lifetime, how much one loyal customer can give back to their company. So understand when we start talking about marketing that it's not just attracting, nor should it be just attracting new employees, it's really keeping those loyal customers. Those loyal customers spend a lot more money for us and they're a lot easier to keep than to attract new ones. So those are the objectives for Chapter 1. I want to move to Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is called Service Characteristics of the Hospitality and Tourism Marketing. Number 1 talks about describe a service culture. So you have to understand that anything that we give in hospitality and tourism is really service related. I like to argue that it's actually experience related. So we're not just giving a product and a service, but we're ultimately creating an overall experience, which puts us above and beyond our competition. But we'll stick to what the author says, and we'll talk about this being service culture. So understand really what that is, that doesn't matter if we're giving a quick service type of product, so McDonald's burger or a fine dining steak, that the service component is very strong in our industry. 2 talks about identifying 4 service characteristics that affect the marketing of a hospitality or travel product. Those 4 characteristics are being that we have an intangible product. What I mean by that is it's very difficult to evaluate the hospitality product until you consume it. We have a very experimental or experiential product. So as I said before, we're giving an experience. It's hard for a customer to even decide to purchase the product because they don't really have that opportunity to test it out. You can go into Best Buy and play a video game or look at the TV to actually evaluate the product before you purchase it. Deciding to go on a vacation is very difficult because you've never actually been to that place. You've only maybe seen pictures of the experience or heard feedback from friends and family. So we have a very intangible product that's very difficult to evaluate prior to the experience, and sometimes for some even after the experience. So that's a characteristic that's very unique to our industry. Also, we have this inseparability. What that means is that going back to talking about the TV or the video game, that product is made at a factory. That product is tested to make sure that it works fine. It's then, shipped to the store and it's marketed, and a guest actually goes into that store, purchases it, brings it home, then tests it out. What happens in our industry is that a guest comes into our factory. Realistically, if it's a hotel or if it's a restaurant or meeting venue or even an airline, and we are actually producing that product in front of them. Not only are we producing it, we're serving the product to that person, they're consuming it, and they're evaluating it all inside our factory. So very different than most other industries. As I said, utilizing electronics. It's something that's made at a factory, shipped, purchased, and then brought home. Ours is all done within our factory. So that's a very unique characteristic of the hospitality industry as well. The third of 4 characteristics of our service is that it varies a lot. It varies in service by the who, the when, the where, and then the how. Think about your first experience at an establishment. Maybe it was great. The food was great. It was a slower night. The server at the restaurant or hotel, if it's a hotel, was very attentive, paid a lot of attention to you. You had a wonderful experience. The next time you go, maybe it was good again, or maybe it was really bad. Maybe it was a different server, someone who wasn't attentive to your needs. It was a busy Saturday night. They weren't trained. So service tends to vary. It's very hard to be consistent when there's a human element. So that's something that's, again, very common in our industry and not in other industries a lot of times. So again, going back to that product, buying your first TV, one TV over the next 20, they're pretty similar because they've had that opportunity to be tested out to make sure that the product's of good quality. It also goes into that inseparability too, that they're coming into our actual factory. The final one is perishability. So it's pretty common, people understand that food doesn't stay good, right? So our food in a restaurant is going to go bad if we don't sell it. That's pretty easy to understand, but some folks don't necessarily understand if I talk about perishability in hotels or perishability in airlines. As I said before, if you've been in intro to hospitality or hotel management, you understand these concepts, but other students it takes a little bit longer to understand. So if I have 100 rooms in my hotel and I only sell 99 of them, that means that I lost one room that night. And people would say, well, no, tomorrow you still have 100 rooms, but we don't look at it that way. We look at the profitability that I had in that given night. My objective in the hotel or in the restaurant is to sell every one of those seats or rooms to make sure that we have the highest profitability possible. So if I don't sell one room or one hotel room or 10 or 20, I'm losing that hotel room or that airline seat for that given day. So that means it's a perishable item. So those are the 4 characteristics of kind of service marketing in the hospitality industry. The final learning objective for Chapter 2 is explaining the 7 marketing strategies for service businesses. And these are a lot, again, unique to our industry, not only our industry, but very unique to our industry. So just a few of them, making sure that we differentiate our service. Improving our service as well is another one. Handling customer complaints is another marketing strategy. People being part of the product. I mentioned that with part of the reason I mentioned the variability, that different individuals give different types of service. And then finally, capacity and demand. So that part of the chapter will talk a little bit about yield management. Yield management is that concept of in any given night, a room rate at a hotel can be different depending on supply and demand. It's also similar to the airline industry. You know, if there's a lot of seats left, prices are going to be cheaper. If there's one seat left, prices are going to be high. So take a look at Chapter 2. Look at those 7 marketing strategies. Along with any of the other learning objectives, anything you don't understand, please make sure that you email me and or put in the muddiest points discussion that I will put on each week. That muddiest points I can reply to, any of your fellow students can reply to assist you. Other than that, again, I want to remind you, discussion questions, the ones that I've posted for this week, please make sure that's for chapters 1 and 2, that you respond to those by 11:59 on Thursday. Then on Sunday, you're going to want to reply to 2 of your fellow students. And then by next Monday at 11:59, you're going to want to complete those 12 questions on chapters 1 and 2. I hope that, I'm sure I talked really fast. I apologize about that. I do like to try to make these videos as short as possible. If you do have questions, email, call me. Remember, I do have my online office hours as well this week. So I thank you for your attention. Again, thank you for your commitment and your participation this week. Please remember, these discussion questions this week should be on that company that you decided to start researching throughout the semester. So I wish you all a great week, and I'll see you next week.